Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It is Transformation Tuesday, and I am excited to be back. A new week, a new month, a new quarter, a new half to the year. The first half of the year is behind us, and we are we are beginning the second half of 2024. It's hard to believe, but whether we believe it or not, that is the case. So we may as well catch up. We may as well catch up and join in and make the most out of the remainder of this year, right? So, as I've mentioned to you guys before, we each week we'll have a theme, something that we're focused on. So, although we'll be talking about Transformation Tuesday, just like we do every Tuesday, this week we'll be coming from the perspective of goal setting. So, we'll be looking at what transformation means and doesn't mean from the perspective of setting goals, building our plans around those goals, and even more importantly, implementing those goals and achieving what we set out to do. We are fully capable of doing all of those things. And we spend this time every week talking about how we can go about making that so. So, welcome to Transformation Tuesday. I am excited to have you here. Hey, Brian, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get this party started right now. Right now. I'm excited about this one. There's something about let me get my lighting on. I forgot this morning. There's something about having that theme and giving ourselves something to focus on, a perspective to come from, that in my mind really helps me to hone in and to look at each one of these days a little bit differently, taking the learning and the discussions that we have deeper, right? And so that's what we want to do. We don't ever want to get stagnant. We don't ever want to stop learning. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I think when I stop learning, I will stop living. So, up until that point, I am curious about what's going on in the world. I want to continue to become and find the best version of myself. So, that requires me to remain open, remain curious, and to allow myself to continue to grow. And as long as we're going through some sort of a transformation. I just want us to wake up to the process so that we don't end up somewhere that we did not intend to go. If we dig in, if we're focused and keen on what it is and where it is we would like to go, what it is we would like to accomplish, we're much more likely to get there. So, on this Transformation Tuesday, I want to say welcome to Michael. Hey, Paulette, it is good to see you. Always good to see you in the house as well. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to share with you guys our quote in just a moment. Ms. Caramel Cutie, welcome, welcome, welcome. I love the name. Love, love, love your IG handle. Caramel Cutie. You can tell I'm from Texas by the way I say that. Let me get our quote up to start, and then we're going to dig in. It's coming from Tony Robbins, and he says, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. When I first started my business, quite a few years back, before the Voice Within Wins found me, and that became just the obvious, not just tagline, but really the mission, from which I build and am growing and evolving this business, right? The Voice Within Wins, you'll hear me say that all the time. But before that, when I first started, it was we believe to achieve. If you can believe it, if you can see it, if you can imagine yourself in a position, having a thing, it can be so. And how do you go from the dream of it all, the invisible, it's invisible at a point when you begin to set goals and you begin to create a plan towards something that you want in your life, be it how you show up in the world. So there's internal changes, or actually accomplishing things, achieving particular goals. You go from the invisible to the visible, from not having to having, from it being out of reach and out of sight to something that you can touch and that you're actually progressing towards. You do that by setting goals. Goals are the beginning of the actual implementation and moving from a plan or a dream to actually having that thing in hand. So, setting goals is important, and that's going to be our focus for the entire week. Hey Z, I'm glad to see that you are back with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as we talk more and more about setting those goals, we'll deal with them all week from the different perspectives. So today we're talking about transformation. Hello, Kelly. I see you there as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And when we think about transformation, right, we're not just talking about your everyday change, right? We're talking about deep-seated, real, not just change in how you see things, change in how you show up. It becomes a new way of being. The old is gone and there's something new there, right? It's a new way of showing up. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of being, a new way of responding. When we transform, we do not behave the way we did before. When we transform, we don't think the way we did before. When we transform, we don't act the way we did before. So it's transformation takes a while, because not only does the change take place, but then it becomes deep seated. It becomes rooted in who you are and how you are. It becomes a part of eventually your default. So the way that you would quickly respond before is no longer the way that you respond. Okay, I see Paulette says that she can't hear. Michael, Kelly, or Z, can one of you guys let me know if you can still hear me? A thumbs up if you can hear me from someone. Or have I lost audio everywhere?
I can still hear you.
So you can still hear me. So we're connected in the studio, but how about, okay, Kelly says yes. So she can hear me as well. Z can hear me. Okay, so we are still connected. So whatever you're experiencing, Paulette, it must be going on your end. You may try connecting through another medium. Hey, Karen. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, Nisi. But not Nisi, Auntie. We so close in age, it's hard to remember which is the niece and which is the aunt. We are literally 5 days apart, and started kindergarten, went all the way through school together. So we did all of that young life together. She's my dad's sister, so she is literally my aunt, and we are 5 days apart, April 22nd and April 27th. And here we are, still doing life together. Good morning, Cynthia. Good to see you here as well. Let's see, make sure I haven't missed anyone else. T's Creation, welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't think I've ever welcomed you in this space before. It is a blessing to have you here with us. Also, I'm excited, always excited to see new faces as well as the returning ones. That's how we build and expand a community. So, with that in mind, if you guys would, each one of you share the live wherever you're watching from. I see at least two, no, three. I see three different platforms represented right now. So wherever you're watching from, share the live so that the folks who follow you have the opportunity to join us. And then send it to two or three people personally, because you're thinking of them and because you're hearing something that you think would be beneficial to them. Oh, Kelly says her son's birthday is April the 28th. Ooh, you got a Taurus in your hand. We are loyal to a fault. We will stick with you until we don't. There's a line, and when you cross it, it's hard to get us back, but it's hard to push us over that line. We will stick with you, but once that you puncture that space, you taking us for granted, you don't appreciate us. It is hard. It is hard to get a Taurus back in the boat once you jumped out. But we're gonna ride that journey with you for quite a while. So if we jump out, you probably help push us. So be nice to the Tauruses. We're good to have on your team. So happy belated birthday to your son, Kelly. We have a lot of April birthdays in my family. April's a big month. So let's see. I see Kelly is starting to tag folks and invite them in as you always do. Much appreciated. I encourage you all to do the same. And you have heard the quote already. Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. So on this Transformation Tuesday, we're talking about unlocking your potential with goal setting. And before we jump into the actionable steps and really what it is to set goals, I want to talk about transformation from a different perspective. When we transform, we often think about all the things that we will be learning, right? We think about all the things that the new skills and the things that we bring in. But part of transformation, that deep rooted real change, part of that transformation is unlearning as well. We have to unlearn some of the things that we picked up along the way that may not serve us. So this morning, I want to spend some time and unlearn some bad messages that we may have gotten about goals along the way. So we're going to do a little myth busting. I practiced that word all night long, y'all. I am a talker. And so it was funny that when I finally ran across a word, such a small word, what's that, 4 letters? I think I could say myth, but I had a hard time saying myths, the plural. So bear with me as I struggle through because I've got to say it a few times today, but it just does not come natural. It just gets lost somewhere behind the smile. I can't get it out. But we are going to be busting myths today. It just feels funny. It doesn't even feel right coming out of my mouth, but we're going to try to get through it without me cracking up too much. So, myth number one, see, that's easier, is goals limit creativity. We're going to bust that myth wide open. Goals do not limit creativity. A lot of people think, well, if I go around setting goals, then I'm limiting myself. I've already put a cap on what it is and I can achieve. No, goals do not limit creativity. They focus your creativity. When you're creative, your mind can be all over the place. You can go from one thought to the next, one idea to the next. But when you get the clarity in mind of what it is you actually want to accomplish, now you have some place to focus all of that creativity. So you may tackle how you're going to go about achieving that thing differently than the next person because you're so creative and you're coming up with these different ideas, but you're not limited. There's a difference between limited and being focused, right? I can drive around all day long and never end up anywhere in particular. Or I can have a route in mind. I can take the most efficient route. I can take the scenic route. I can stop along the way and check out the sights or visit a friend, stop and get some food. But because I know ultimately where it is I am going, regardless of which path I take, I'm going to get there, right? I'm focused. I have an end goal in mind. So my energy is focused on a particular solution, end goal, achievement. So I'm not limited. There are many paths that I can take to get there. As creative as I can be, I can pull all that in. But ultimately, I'm going to use that creativity to drive me where it is that I'm wanting to go. So we are not at all limited by goals. We're focused and we're on a path and we're going to get there. The second myth is that goals reduce flexibility. I have to be so rigid. I can only do these things. This is the only way. No, it's just the opposite. Just like it focuses you, it also gives you your goals. You should be assessing on a regular basis. Is this still important to me? Is this still the best way for me to get from point A to point B? What have I learned along the way as I've been working on this goal that I may need to incorporate into my learning and tackle this thing a little bit differently? So your flexibility, just like your creativity, is focused. It's not limited or reduced in any way. You're learning and adjusting. When you have good goals, they're trying to get you somewhere, but they are not so rigid that you can't make changes and adjust along the way. You actually should, because when you were in that beginning state where you were dreaming and planning and getting ready to implement, you only knew what you knew at that point. But every milestone that you've hit along the way has taught you something. And we don't want to throw that learning away. We want to pick it up, take a look at it from all sides. What is it teaching me? What can I incorporate on into this journey so that I get exactly where it is I'm trying to go, that I'm as efficient as possible, that I'm enjoying the ride. So that goal setting actually allows you to be more flexible, and you should be, because you don't want to be so focused on the end result that you forget the journey along the way. That's where the real joy is. There's that ultimate joy at the end, but there's so many points of joy along the way if you're open to it and realize each step you take to celebrate and realize that you're getting closer and closer and closer to that goal. So remain flexible in your goal setting so that you can incorporate your new learning. Goals are only about the end result. I've got a goal. I want to get from point A to point Z. There's a 24 letters between A and Z. So there's a lot of milestones along the way, each one important. We just talked about how they can inform you, right? You can learn and incorporate that learning, but the journey itself is really where the joy is. Each step of the way, I've had a new experience. I've learned something new. I've learned something about myself. I've seen something new because the route is scenic, and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm evolving, not just at the end, but every single step of the way. So we don't ever want to get so fixated on the end that we forget to enjoy the journey. Each step of your journey is your right now, right? Whatever is going on right now is a important step in the journey that you're on, and that's to be enjoyed, that's to be celebrated. That is where your focus should be. The end result is going to take care of itself if you're doing today what today requires of you, right? If you do today what is required of you today, tomorrow is going to be a much better day. You're prepared for it, and the next tomorrow and the next tomorrow. So in focusing on and making the most of today, of the now, where life is actually happening, being present in the life that's going on right now will inform and improve the days to come. So don't get so focused on the end result that you forget to enjoy every step of the way. Our fourth myth is that you need to know every step to set a goal. Absolutely not. You may not know any of the steps when you set the goal. You may need to do research. You may maybe need to reach out to a mentor or a coach, right? You may need to read on it, upskill, but there's something inside of you that's saying, this is what I want, right? I want to run a marathon. Okay. You want to run 26.2 miles? The obvious is I need to start running, but there's a method to it. There's a way that you do it where you start small and you keep building and you keep building so that you get the energy, the focus, that mental fortitude. You get everything that you need in order to be able to run that 26 miles, right? So you know the end goal, but you may not necessarily know the steps along the way. How much do I need to eat? When is the best time for me to train? Should I work with someone else or should I do it on my own? There's so many things to figure out along the way, but that does not stop you from creating the goal. So whatever it is you want to do, set that goal and then work backwards from there to today. What are the things that I need to do along the way that's going to get me there? I need to make sure I'm getting enough sleep. I need to focus on my nutrition. I need to make sure that I'm hydrated. I need to figure out how many days a week I walk and run so that I'm building up those muscles, but I'm not overdoing it and I'm injuring myself. I need to read about, maybe there's an app, maybe there's somebody I can talk to. There is research that you can do along the way, but don't allow that to stop you from setting the goal that you have in mind for yourself. If you do that, what are you gonna focus on, right? You can't until once you set the goal, building the plan just becomes the next obvious step. I start with the end in mind, and I worked my way backwards to today. Here's where I am. I'm going to go out and I'm going to take a light run. I'm going to see how long I can run just to understand where I am. That's my baseline. And now I'm going to start building from there. There's more than one way to tackle it. But first, set that goal and then begin to do the research and build a plan to get there. Do not wait until you feel like you know it all. If I waited until I thought I knew it all, I wouldn't know any of you all. I absolutely wouldn't. The way my show looks today is so different than the way it looked a year ago. The background's different, the lighting's different. I have a better camera, a better mic. I know how to make the stuff scroll down the bottom and put up the points as I'm making them. I know how to connect to multiple social medias at once so I can stream everywhere. I didn't know any of that stuff when I started. I just knew I wanted to do this. I had a goal, right? So it began with that. And once that became my goal, then I began to figure out what are the steps along the way. And you can do the same, regardless of what it is. Your most audacious goal, the thing that when you think it, you get a little nervous. You don't want to say it out loud because you just can't believe that it can be done. Believe it. If you believe it, it can be done. And it begins with that belief and setting that goal, and then work your way all the way back and create those actionable steps so that every day you're moving in that direction. The first thing I did was get on a Facebook private group called Get on Camera. I was really nervous about talking without the safety net of a recording. I would record videos and upload those, but I was afraid to go live. It's funny now, but I thought I would run out of things to say. And I'm like, what do I do with that awkward silence? What if nobody shows up? Well, if they don't show up, they can see the replay. If I keep putting it out there long enough, eventually people will catch on. And now I have a dedicated group of you guys that are here every day and are consistently inviting other people in. None of that would have happened if I didn't set the goal. I had to push myself out of my comfort zone. I was so afraid to do this. And now I can't imagine not doing it. But a few months ago, this was not happening. I'll record, I'll stop and start until I feel like it's good enough, and then I'll upload it. That felt safe. It felt controlled, and people commented or they didn't, but at least I wasn't, out there bare, not knowing what if something falls over. Y'all, everything that I thought could go wrong has happened. The in the middle of me talking, the laptop has flashed, and all of a sudden I was no longer connected. Some days the audio it gets bad, and Brian and our mics are dueling each other, and they sound terrible. Sometimes I forget. This morning I forgot the lighting. So instead of that becoming a thing, I just reached over and turned it on and said, "Oh, I forgot my lighting today." Sometimes people leave mean comments. Most of the time I ignore them. Sometimes they become relevant to what I'm talking about. And it's a learning moment for me and for other people. How you manage people bringing their negativity into your space. Those were things I really feared. I remember one day in the middle of a sentence, I just went blank. My mind drifted off somewhere, and I just could not remember in that moment what it was I was going to say. And I looked at the camera and I said, "Oh, I'm back. I just blanked out for a minute, but I'm back." I don't know where that thought went, but it drifted away. And then I just continued on. It just becomes a part of the conversation because I'm not shooting for perfection, because I'll never get there. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to look the best I can. I'm going to try to be on time and all the professional things, but life is going to life. My husband walked in before the kids are walked in and made noise. All the stuff that you worry about, it can happen, but it's not the end of the world. You keep moving, you incorporate it into what's going on, and you keep going. As long as you're willing to keep going, you're still in the game. And you're not just in the game, you're winning because you're progressing. You may not have hit that ultimate shot, but you just hit the shot at the end of the quarter. Game's not over, you're still in it, but you just put your team back in competition. Do it. Keep moving forward. Be more concerned about what can happen than right than what could go wrong. Right? You have a 50-50 shot. It could go right, it could go wrong. Understand that and plan to just keep moving past it. Don't make it as an excuse to not do the things that you were destined to do. I can't even begin to tell y'all things have fallen off the wall. Things that a few months ago would have been devastating are just no big deal. We just deal with it and keep moving forward. And I am 100% convinced that every one of you within the sound of my voice, either now or later, have that same ability. Whatever it is that you truly desire to do, the only thing that's standing between you and that is your belief. Believe that you can. Get that dream real clear in your head, set the goals, and then begin to walk towards those goals. Every decision you make, every step you take will move you farther or away from the goals that you set for yourself. So get that clarity so that you can make good decisions and you can spend your time doing the things that are going to take you where it is you want to go. The fifth myth is that goals must be big and grandiose. I've got to climb Mount Everest. That would be cool. But can I walk a mile? Can I jog? What can I do? Our goals do not have to be so big and grandiose. Those small, actionable steps that we take every day, that's what really is where we really win. We're building up the muscle. We're building up the attitude. We're building up that perseverance. We're building up our resilience by taking those small goals and accomplishing them. And then you take the next small goal and you accomplish that. At the end of that, you believe in you. Your self-confidence rises. Your resilience shows up. You start to believe in yourself and know that you can. So the big grandiose goals, you'll get there. But start with something that's realistic, that's in your wheelhouse, and start to teach yourself that you can count on you. I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to do the things that I said I'm going to do. I can count on me. When you believe in yourself and no one else does, you're still okay because the person who needs to believe in you the most does. It starts with you. Do you believe? Others will come along or not. It's your dream. It's your journey. It's your destiny. It's your life. So you're the one ultimately who needs to believe in the possibilities and the capabilities of you. So start with you. The rest of it will take care of itself. If you believe, it can happen. So no, those goals do not have to be big and grandiose. That's a myth that we want to bust right now. Don't compare your goals to other people's. Comparison is the thief of joy. Just the fact that you have the goal and that you're willing to work towards it, you're in the game and you're winning. And then failing to achieve goals is a complete failure. Now, that's the opposite of my growth mindset that I believe in so much. Everything teaches us something, but especially when things don't work out the way we intended. There's so much learning. It's rich, fertile learning time when you have your quote unquote failures. Failures are opportunities to learn, to grow, to inform yourself of something new, adjust that learning into your process, and get right back in the game. More informed, more aware, more capable of accomplishing what it is that you were going for because you have that new learning. We have to create a new relationship with failure if we want to truly be successful. If every time you have a hiccup, that is your reason to throw in the towel, you're missing it. You pick up that towel and you look at it from every angle. What is it teaching me? What can I learn from this situation? How can this make me better and help me move closer to the goals that I have for myself? A failure is not a confirmation of your inability. It is an opportunity for you to learn, but you have to shift your mindset and see it for what it is. And if you're willing and able to do that, nothing can stop you. If a failure, you see it as a learning opportunity and you dig into that thing and grab that lesson, how much better prepared are you to take that next step? But we miss it. We don't like to look at our failures. We don't like to talk about them. We like to pretend like they didn't happen. And we want to spend all of our time talking about the glory days. Sometimes the glory days were 20 years ago. Let them rest. You did it. You accomplished those things. But here we are 20 years later. What are we going to do with our now, with our today, with what is to come, with what could be? That's what really matters. You use those glory days and all the things that you learned from them to inform your right now. But don't be so busy looking backwards that you don't see what's in front of you right now. The opportunities, the possibilities, they're right there right now. But you have to look for them and you have to plug in and be willing to come outside your comfort zone and take the necessary steps to take that dance with the unknown, right? That's a scary place to be for most folks. But when you step outside of your comfort zone, you open up your life to so many possibilities that weren't there before, right? So, those are the 6 myths that I wanted to bust today. Hopefully, that was helpful for you guys. I do have just a few actionable steps that we'll come to after Brian. Quite a few comments have come in. Let me see what everyone is saying, and then over to you. Oh, Kelly, I'm so sorry to hear that. She said, okay, I did not realize that. Bless your heart. You have really been through some stuff, and it's amazing to see, despite it all, the positivity and the I'm not going to give up. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and accomplish the things that I have set out for myself. It is amazing to see that in you, Kelly, and how you show up for yourself and others every day. Z says, I understand what you mean. Kelly, I got back to doing my exercises. I pushed myself. I did 100 squats. That's amazing. 100 squats despite going through a stroke. 100 squats is a lot for anybody. But when your body has been physically challenged like that and you have to push through the mental of getting healthy again, I applaud you, Kelly, today, just like every day, that you continue to push forward. So congratulations to you. Good morning, Miss Linda Gray. I actually just right before this call, I replied to your comment from yesterday. It wasn't read in real time. Thanks to Conchita. I saw it and had the opportunity to respond. So that's out there for you. Kelly says, my goal is to move out of this apartment. Yes, ma'am. And it will be so. Conchita says, terrific Tuesday to everyone. Looking forward to an amazingly wonderful day. Absolutely. And she says, welcome, Dr. Yinka Dixon. So glad you joined us. Yes, welcome, Dr. Dixon. I'm glad to have you with us. Veronica Atkins says, good morning, everyone. My sister Alicia is there, says good morning. You are welcome, Kelly. There's our sister Brian. Denise is in the audience today. She says, good morning, family. You are looking gorgeous this morning, Cassandra. Oh, thank you. I did a little makeup shopping this weekend, girl, and I thought I would try something new. So thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. Z says, my comment was referring to when you were stating the struggle with saying the word miss. LOL. I'm the same with certain words. Girl, have fun with it. Laugh at yourself. Create space to make everything as joyful as possible. When the old perfectionist me would have just been broke down and so upset, I probably would have Googled synonyms for myth so I could use another word that came easier. But it's funny. I am enjoying hearing myself sound just a little off today. Kelly said, my stroke came from trauma. Oh my gosh, from my son being murdered. That stress level. Absolutely. I understand. Well, God bless you, Kelly. And keep on keeping on. Keep on believing in yourself and moving forward. You are an inspiration. I see the emojis from you, Linda. And Z says, I am enjoying this live. Well, I am glad. So am I. I'm having a good time. I am typically really, really happy when I'm here and with you guys. Oh, y'all, one of my besties, Linda Maynard is in the house. It is always a blessing to see you, sister. That's another inspiration. I'm not going to tell her business, but she has been through some stuff physically, and she still has the most beautiful smile and the most inspirational story. And just knowing that you're here, Linda, has absolutely made my day. I see one of my girlfriends from back in the Ville, Sherry Yellen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We were cheerleaders together, and she was so much better. She was always better than me. So she was hashtag goals even back then. Her rhythm was better. I think Sherry was our head cheerleader, and she was just, and she could sing. Her whole family. I wanted to be able to sing. I pushed myself on them and got a chance to sing at our graduation, but Lord have mercy. Thank God for Sherry because she and her entire family so super talented. And I think she is Dr. Sherry now. So welcome, my friend. It's good to see you in this space as well. I hope you will come again. Let's see. Kelly is saying right here, I think is applicable to all of us. She says, I got to be my own push. When you are self-motivated, when you have that determination, when you can create your goals and implement and move towards those goals for yourself, you are winning because sometimes it's you and you, right? Sometimes it's just me, myself, and I. I may not have anybody that believes in what it is that I'm doing. I may not have anybody who's going to push me forward. But when I have that internal fortitude and determination, nothing can stop me. So good for you, Kelly. And hey, Alexis, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you there as well. Let me check one more place really quickly. ATX Future. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, Over to you, Brian. I have said a lot this morning, as always. So, before we get to the actionable steps, I'd love to hear what you'd like to share concerning the quote or any of the myths or just Transformation Tuesday, unlocking your potential with goal setting. I'm going to put the quote back up as you tap in.
Tap in. Grand
Tap in.
Rising.
Grand Rising.
Yeah, something keeps reverberating in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a quote from Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna give it word for word, but the summation of the quote is: you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step.
Mm-hmm.
We get so distracted trying to get to that end game that we almost get into this mode of being terrified to even move, right? Because the goal seems so big, the end goal, the end of the game, the objective seems so big. So that's one of the reasons that I've encountered with not being able to set a goal, right? To even get started, because you get terrified, you get petrified, not even terrified, you won't move. You literally stand still, can't do anything. And the
Right.
other is not having an objective in the first place, right? You don't even know where you're going. You just set it adrift without compass. Everything is just, have you ever been on a ship in the night with no lights? It's almost impossible. It's terrifying. You won't move. But the beautiful part about your life is that you have a light inside of you. I
Mm.
like what I like what Kelly said. You got to be your own push. Being your own push means keeping it in front of you. That was the crust of that vision board party. It gives you the opportunity to take your goal and put it in front of you. If
Yes.
you always setting goals and you never see them, you can never reflect on it, you can never look at it, then it just becomes something that you said and it's not something that you're focused on. You can set goals all day long, but you got to keep them in front of you. You have to have that physical representation so that you know what it is you're trying to accomplish. Without that, you like a ship at sea without a rudder, without a compass, without a guide, without lights, and you just out there.
Adrift.
And there's no telling what you're gonna run into, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need that in front of you. When you're setting goals, yeah, it's cool to make them lofty. It's cool to, have these big dreams, but be realistic, right? If you used the analogy earlier about running a marathon. If you're
Mm-hmm.
running a marathon and I got a friend of mine. He's a senator, and he's a triathlon or whatever. He does the cycling, the swimming, and the running. I think that's
Yep.
what he does. And
Mm-hmm.
he's an old cat. This guy is like 70. And he trains every single day. Like, he's always at the gym. If he's not in session, you can find him at the gym, right? Him and his wife, they're always at the gym. The point of this is that he set a goal to win that triathlon. And he didn't win it, but he set the goal. And in setting that goal, he took those small steps daily, and he'd been taking them for years before he ever got into his first triathlon. When you set a goal, make it realistic. He didn't go out there and say, hey, I'm gonna run a triathlon and I'm not gonna practice for it. I'm not gonna train for it. I'm just gonna win. Come
Just
on,
gonna
it's
run
not
it
gonna happen.
tomorrow.
You're gonna run into a wall. You're not gonna win like that. Be realistic with yourself when you set your goals. And it's okay to start small. You don't have to do anything grandiose at first. That's not how it works. Your efforts compound on top of each other, and they just keep compounding. And the sooner you start, the easier it is. But the way to get started is to make sure it's always in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold yourself accountable. Like Kelly said, be your own push. Put it in front of you and make yourself do it. If you keep seeing a goal that you set for yourself every single day, and you've never gotten it accomplished, at some point you're gonna get down on yourself and you're gonna say, man, I gotta get this done. And you're gonna do it. That's just the way it works. But if you can't see it, believe me, you'll never accomplish it. You have to be the one to put it in your face to make it happen. If you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. We are responsible for ourselves. We're not only our biggest quote unquote cheerleaders, but we have to be our biggest critics. It's not just about saying, "Hey, I can do this. I can do this." Be honest with yourself. Well, I didn't do this yesterday. Well, I didn't start. I didn't put it in front of me. Be honest with yourself. When you're honest and you're accountable, you can get it done. And it doesn't happen if you can't see it. You have to see it to believe it. You have to see it to believe it. I'm gonna say it one more time. You have to see it to believe you can achieve it.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's transformation for me.
Alexa says
Believing and
today.
seeing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I think he muted. All right. So Alexa says today is transformative. Kelly says, I've been like this my whole life. From Karen Terry, she shared patience and faith is key. Chirito says, hello, Mimi. Good evening from the Philippines. Paulette says, true, Brian. So what you said was definitely resonating with her. Conchita says, perfect MLK quote, Brian. Very relevant to today's topic. Paulette says, small wins are the push I need. From Charito, hello, Cassandra, dear. Good evening from the Philippines. Hello, Charita. So good to see you here. Veronica Atkins says, this is so helpful. That makes my entire day, Veronica. That means that the last 45 minutes of my life have been of value, right? Because someone else got something out of it. I got something out of it. For me, that's what it's all about. So to know that it's been helpful to you, absolutely is a great start to my day. Lisa says, starting small is okay. Love it. Yeah, it's not just okay, it's wise. you build up that momentum, that compounding effect is on your side when you begin to believe even more so in yourself and in your ability to get it done when you see those small wins along the way. Charito says, hi, everybody here. Good evening from the Philippines. Paulette, the vision is the beginning. Absolutely. You have to be able to see it first. You see it, you believe it, you plan for it, you implement it, you accomplish it. It's a process, just like everything else, but it begins in here, like most things, with your ability to visualize it, to dream it, to know that it can be yours, and then to be disciplined enough to start taking the steps to get there. You're welcome, Veronica. So glad that you are here. Let's see. I want to make sure that I've recognized everyone. I think I have, and I've gathered all of your comments. So we're going to wrap up shortly by moving into our actionable steps. For those of you who are new to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, the program runs pretty much the same. We began with a quote or some sort of a conversation starter, like what you see under us right now. Today's quote is setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And then Ron and I both share our thoughts on the topic of today. On Tuesdays, we always focus on transformation. But over the last 4 weeks now, we've brought in a theme. So there's a theme for the week. So every Tuesday is Transformation Tuesday. Wednesday is Wake Up Wednesday, and we talk about the power of intentionality. Thursday is Thankful Thursday. We focus on gratitude. And Friday is Focus Friday, and we talk about the power of being focused and how you can use focus as a tool to achieve your goals. So every week in, week out, the days are the same. Those are the 4 days that we cover. But what we do now each week is wrap a theme around that. So we talk about those things from the perspective of that particular theme. This week's theme is goal setting. So every day we'll talk about goal setting and how the theme of the topic of the day can help you in your goal setting journey, which is what it's going to take for you to at least the beginning of achieving your goals, because you actually have to implement those goals. But setting them and getting that clarity is a great place to start with whatever it is that you are desiring. Let's see. Bob says hello from Boston. Hey, Bob, it's been a while. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cynthia says this has been helpful. Starting breaking into small steps has always been a challenge for me because I'm always focused on the big picture. The big picture is beautiful. The big picture is inspiring. It gets you motivated and exciting, but it can also be very overwhelming. It can seem like it's going to take you forever to get there. And before you know it, you start to get demotivated and you lose that very thing that can move you forward, right? So breaking that big goal into those actionable steps and seeing yourself progressing towards it is the antidote to that overwhelm, because you may not be there yet, but you can look backwards and go, man, look how far I've come. So you know you're on your way. So it may take a little bit of doing, Cynthia, but because you've brought that into your awareness, because you are aware that that's a challenge for you, that makes it more easy for you to tackle it, right? So now, whatever it is, whatever's that, because I know you are a doer, you are a woman who's always accomplishing things. So whatever it is that you're going for right now, how can you break that down into 3 or 4 smaller steps and associate a time to accomplish each one of those steps, and celebrate as you move there? Just like, when I was writing my book, I needed a title, right? I needed the outline. I needed to work through, each chapter, what it was I wanted to say. The whole thing needed to be pulled together. If ultimately all I thought about was writing the book, I may never have completed it, right? But because there were milestones along the way, I had a plan of how I was going to get there. Each day I could do something that was moving me towards that goal. And man, did it feel good when March 25th happened. You guys were there. Quite a few of you were there for the release party. We celebrated. The book is still out there and selling. And it started with a dream. It started with an idea. But that idea needed actionable steps that I could take to move it from that to an actual accomplishment. And we all have that ability. That's why we keep talking about these things, because I want you to plug in. I don't want you to ever walk away from here going, man, she's awesome. No, I want you to walk away going, if that little girl from country Farmersville, Texas, grew up with not even hot running water in her kitchen, didn't know how where all the food was going to come from, if she can do any of the things that she's done, I can do everything that I want to do. It's not about you guys liking me, being inspired by me, getting excited by me, none of that stuff. Because when I tell you, you peel the layers back and all you get is a human being. That's what we all are, right? At the end of the day, blood, sweat, and tears wrapped in flesh, human beings. We're all the same. What differentiates sometimes? Tools, techniques, attitude, discipline. So that's why we have the conversations that we have, not for you to get excited about me, but using me to realize just how capable you are. That's what it's all about. Walking away from this going, I know that I can do the things that are important to me. Now, that is a message that I want you to grab hold of. It really is not about me. I just happen to have had this dream. It was something that was put inside of me when I was a little bitty girl. I didn't know how it was going to how it was going to happen, how it was going to come into being. But I've seen myself just talking and having conversations, being even in stadiums with a microphone in my hand. Those were dreams I had as a little person. And who knew back then? There was no internet that was accessible to the average person back then. The things that we can do now, me being able to be in all these spaces, none of that was possible back then. But the dream of what I could do with all of that began way back then in a little old town called Farmersville, Texas, that you better not blink or you'll miss it as you're passing through. But that's home base. That's where it all began. And we all have those dreams that were placed inside of us. This special reason that we were born, something that we were designed to do, right? And when you find out what that is, then you start breaking that down into those small steps. And choice by choice, step by step, you start marching yourself towards that thing. You all are capable of doing that, but you got to believe it. It's not enough for me to say it. You have to grab hold of that and believe it for yourself. Bob says, I am an American. Amen. I am. That is I've never seen American that way. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. He says, one step at a time, just do one thing and one more and one more. Exactly. Exactly. Do the thing, complete the thing, celebrate the thing, repeat. Do the next thing, right? Complete it, celebrate it, repeat. Do the next thing, complete it, celebrate it. That's the process, guys. There's no shortcuts. Shortcuts come. You may win the lottery. You may. But if you don't have the skills to manage the money, it'll be gone as quickly as you got it. Those small, actionable steps, creating that discipline, doing the things that you need to do each day to get you there, that's where you gain those muscles, those skills, the ability to manage what it is that you're trying to accomplish. We don't want to get there. You don't want to get to the top of the mountain and fall off. Your legs are too weak. You didn't do the work. So you once you got to the top, you didn't even have enough strength to stand. No, it's that daily climb that's building up those muscles and giving you the strength to stand tall when you get there, right? So don't those small actionable steps are where it's at. Those small beginnings, it's where it's at. Break those big goals down and get busy. You're welcome, Cynthia. Bob says, work backwards with the outcome, the big vision in mind, and the idea will become a reality. How it impacts others, I am the brilliance that the world needs. Give my God given skills and talents back to the world. Yes, yes, and yes to all of that. Absolutely. Kelly says, yes, ma'am. Alexis says, get excited about one's own self. Yes, you should be excited about you. You should get warm and fuzzy about you and your future and what you can accomplish. Fall in love with you and your ideas and believe that you can make it happen, and you will. No one will be able to stop you. Bob says, see it, feel it, live it as you progress through your journey. Energy, enthusiasm, passion, persistence, purpose brings you there. Love it. Alexa says own, OWN, not on. Yep. Bob says do it, celebrate it, repeat it. Thanks, Cassandra. You are very welcome. Alexa says truth. Dr. Marcia, good morning. Right back to you. She says good morning to you and I, Brian. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you in the house. We are really coming. You guys have gotten me excited today. Y'all have been sharing a lot, and I am here for all of it. But we are at the point where I'll give you a few actionable steps, like we do at the end of every day. And you guys that are in the collective, we'll get them uploaded to you as well. So you have written, you don't have to worry about taking notes. The first thing we started today by talking about the things that we need to unlearn, right? Learning is an important part of any journey, but in that learning, sometimes we have to unlearn bad messages, bad habits. And we talked about 6 myths. There it is. 6 myths about that come with goal setting. Things that people believe about goal setting that are not actually true. So we went through all 6 and we broke them up. We debunked them, right? So reflect on the myths that you believe. What are the things that you believe? I can't say it. What are the things that you believe that are standing between you and the life that you are working to build? Reflect on that. Reflect on those bad messages, the negativity, the disbelief in your own abilities, whatever it is, and your goals. What are the things that are holding you back from even creating the goals that are going to get you moving towards the life that you desire? Spend some time thinking about what those things are and check their validity, right? If you don't believe in you and you have messages in your head that are telling you that you always fail, check it against the evidence of your life. I guarantee you, you've accomplished more than you failed at. You're just focused on the failure. So, just a little bit of a refocus, a reframing of your thoughts, and you can put that myth to bed. So, reflect on what the myths are that's standing between you and the life that you desire, and challenge them, reframe them, get them out of the way so that they are no longer standing between you and the life that you deserve. Set a flexible goal. Begin with a small, actionable step that you're going to take. Create a small goal for yourself. And our goals have to have some flexibility because as we're working towards them, we're learning, we're taking in new details, new information. Maybe it didn't feel exactly the way we thought it was going to feel. So we don't want it the same way we thought we would want it. So you can keep that flexibility in your goals so you can make the necessary adjustments that they stay relevant, they stay what's important to you, and with that flexibility you can continue to move towards what you really want and don't get so caught up on an outcome that you end up somewhere you actually don't want to be. That use that information that's coming in, let it inform you and make the necessary adjustments. We've been talking about this one a lot. Start small. Start small. Dream big, but start small. Have that big audacious dream, those goals that blow your mind, that they're so big you may not want to say them out loud because you're afraid that folks will laugh. Who cares? Let them laugh. Start big. That's the end goal, but act small. Small actionable steps day in and day out will compound and get you towards the life that you desire. And lastly, celebrate the journey. Don't just celebrate the end. Don't wait until you've gotten to the end to be proud of yourself, to cheer yourself on. Each milestone along the way, every time something moves from to do to done, you accomplish something along the way, that is a point of celebration. When you take the time to celebrate, to rejoice, to enjoy, to acknowledge the things that are coming and happening in your life, you build up that resilience, you build up that self efficacy, you build up that self confidence, and you begin to believe in you. And when you believe, there is absolutely nothing that's going to stop you. So those are the actionable steps. Reflect on the myths, even though Cassandra can't say it. Set a flexible goal. Start small and celebrate the journey. So that is what we came to share with you guys today. I'm going to take your final comments, and then we will call it a day. We will be back here tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. Central for Wake Up Wednesday, where we will look at the power of intentionality in our goal setting as well. I want to invite you guys into our community, the SOAR Collective. Go to my website, thevoicewithinwins.com. Check out what we've got going on. Reach out, ask questions. How can I get more involved? How can I become a bigger part of the community? There's always something going on. If we're not having vision board parties, we're planning the next collective, the next challenge, or we're doing something as the SOAR Collective. So there is plenty for you to do, to get involved, to deepen that learning, and to become a bigger part of the community. We welcome you in. We're excited as the community is growing. So go to thevoicewithinwins.com. And if you haven't read SOAR yet, it's still out there and it is available. You can go to Amazon, and you can just enter my name and it'll come up. Soar Beyond Limits, Unleashing the Power Within. It is my framework for personal growth and development. SOAR stands for strengths, identifying your strengths, overcoming limits, achieving goals, and building a resilient mindset. And it has loads of gems and quotes and actionable steps and exercises for you to really get a deep knowledge of each part of SOAR. It begins with your SOAR score, knowing where you are in the process. What's the URL, Brian, for the SOAR score? Is it iwannasoar.com? I can't remember. Oh, Lady Brain. So if you're still there, Brian, come off mute and tell everybody the correct URL. But go to thevoicewithinwins.com and you can peruse the website and you can learn about a lot of the things that we have going on. I heard you there, Brian. What's the URL?
That's it. I want to soar.com.
iwannasoar.com. There, thank you. Let's see. Dr. Marcia says goal setting is knowing that your dream will come alive because you believe in the possibility of your greatness. Absolutely. Kelly says, I get up every morning and tell myself how proud of myself and how strong I am and how much I love me. That's a perfect way to start your day. Connect with your creator and love yourself. If you're starting your day with those two things, you have a nice day ahead of you. Even when things come up that are challenging, you're in the right mindset to deal with those challenges as they come and not allow them to sweep you up and overwhelm you. Bob says, Dr. Marcia, yes, indeed. He said, write down 50 accomplishments in your life and review them often. It is important to write down because we mentally catalog everything that's ever gone wrong. We can recite it song and verse, every mistake we ever made, but we often struggle to shift that focus and see the things that we've accomplished. We will talk that down, we'll bat it away, we won't accept the compliments, but we'll go in and give all of our energy into the things that have held us back. And the primary thing that's held us back is our thinking. So yeah, write those accomplishments down. Have them handy so that you can review them. especially when you're struggling with something and you're having a hard time believing in yourself and your abilities. There's that list of all the things that you can recall that you've already accomplished to remind you of just how capable you are. Thanks for sharing that, Bob. I love it. Kelly says, I'm going to be a comedian and I'm going to come to your show. I want to hear, I want to see, I want to cheer you on. That's exciting. But and that's how you do it. You put it in, actually, Kelly, a slight adjustment. I am a comedian. I am a comedian. Start claiming it right now so that it's not some mystical moment that's going to happen in the future, but start to speak that in the present over your life right now, and then align your actions to making that thing come true. Bob says, I want to be, I want to do, I want to have. Celebrate every minor accomplishment every day and every night. Yeah, I start my days with, and end my days with gratitude. 3 things I'm grateful for, first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And it just helps adjust that old thinking and keeps me in the right mindset. Lisa says, another amazing session. Thank you for those actionable steps. You are absolutely welcome. I'll get them uploaded for you guys in the SOAR Collective as quickly as possible. And then they live there, so they're always available to you. Bob says, thanks, everyone. 2024 is your year to soar. Absolutely. Z says, I needed every bit of this. I'm working from home as well as tuning in. Thank you so much for being here, Z, and I'm glad you got something out of it. Bob says, love yourself. I Love Me is a great song. No more stinking thinking. I am. Love it. And Z says, I'm working on claiming my success as well. So that's future tense. So just start claiming it. Don't work on doing it in the future, Z. Do it right now. Claim your success. Speak that life over you. Whatever it is that success looks like to you, because it's different for all of us. Whatever your definition of success is, begin in the present tense to speak that over your life right now. I am. I have. Right now. Claim it. Bob says, you are already. And I think that's in response to you, Z. You said, I'm working on claiming my success as well. Bob says, you are already. Absolutely. Z says, no, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I will. I am capable. Tiffany Baylor gave a great message yesterday. I have not heard it yet. I need to go back and listen to it. I missed yesterday. So thanks for the reminder. And you are welcome. And guys, I think we have done what we came to do. Everyone's been recognized. We've caught all the comments. And it is time for us to wrap up this day because duty calls. I got to get to work. So thank you guys so much for being here for another amazing Transformation Tuesday. A great start to our week together. I will see you back here tomorrow. I appreciate you all. TheVoiceWithinWins.com. Check it out. If you have any questions, DM me on whatever social you're watching, and we can continue to dig into all things SOAR, all things that you are capable of. The life that you want is yours. Go get it. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.